Hello to everyone watching who is over 60. Today we are going to discuss 7 warning signs of a heart attack that can appear up to a month in advance. Many older adults dismiss these signs thinking they're just minor aches and pains of getting older, but they are actually crucial warnings from your body that you must not ignore. We often think of a heart attack as this sudden dramatic event we see in movies. A person gasping, clutching their chest, and falling to the floor. And while that can happen, the reality for many, especially those of us in our golden years, is much quieter, much more subtle. The truth is, your body is an incredible machine, and it often sends out quiet distress signals, little whispers of trouble weeks or even a month before a major cardiac event. The tragedy is that we've been conditioned to ignore these whispers. We say, "Oh, I'm just getting old," or "I must have slept wrong," or "maybe I ate something that didn't agree with me." We chalk it up to the normal wear and tear of a long life. But what if those aren't just random aches? What if they are your heart's way of saying, "I'm in trouble and I need you to listen"? Learning to decode these silent signals isn't about being fearful. It's about being smart. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge so you can take control of your health and continue to live a long, vibrant, and independent life. Before we dive into these critical signs, if you believe in the power of knowledge to stay healthy and independent, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications. We specialize in sharing the kind of practical health wisdom that can make a real difference in your daily life. And I'm always curious to know who I'm talking to. Where are you watching from today? Are you in the United States, Canada, the UK, or somewhere else in the world? Let me know in the comments below. It's wonderful to see how our community of health-conscious seniors spans the globe. All right, let's get into the first and possibly one of the most overlooked silent signs of impending heart trouble. The first sign is a type of unusual fatigue. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of tiredness you feel after a busy day of playing with the grandkids or doing a big project in the garden. We all know that feeling. This is different. This is a profound, deep, and lasting fatigue that feels bone deep. It's a sense of exhaustion that doesn't seem to have a cause. You wake up feeling like you haven't slept even after a full 8 hours. You find yourself needing to rest in the middle of light activities that used to be easy. For example, you feel the need to constantly sit down and rest while grocery shopping or just walking around your own house. Maybe you used to be able to vacuum the whole house in one go, but now you have to stop and sit down after just one room, your body feeling heavy as lead. So why does this happen? Let's talk about the simple science behind it. Your heart's main job is to pump oxygen-rich blood to every single part of your body, your brain, your organs, and your muscles. When the heart is struggling, perhaps due to a blocked artery, it has to work much, much harder to do its job. Think of it like trying to pump water through a hose that has a kink in it. You have to squeeze the pump much harder to get the same amount of water out. This extra work is incredibly taxing on the heart muscle itself, and it also means that your body's tissues and muscles aren't getting the full supply of oxygen they need to function properly. When your leg muscles, arm muscles, and even your brain are deprived of that vital oxygen, the result is this overwhelming, persistent fatigue. It's a systemic exhaustion. Imagine a friend, let's call her Carol. Carol loved her flower garden. Every spring, she'd spend hours on her knees weeding and planting. But one year, she found she could only manage about 15 minutes before feeling utterly wiped out. She'd go inside, sit in her favorite armchair, and feel like she'd just run a marathon. She blamed it on her age, on the heat, on anything but the real culprit. Her body was sending a clear signal her heart was working overtime and couldn't supply the energy her muscles needed for the gardening she loved. This is the kind of fatigue we are talking about. It's a change from your normal. If you suddenly find yourself unable to complete simple daily tasks without feeling overwhelmingly tired, please do not dismiss it. Keep a little note of when it happens and what you are doing. This isn't just getting older. It could be a vital clue from your heart. Now let's move on to the second sign, which often happens when you're resting. It's shortness of breath, but with a very specific twist. It happens when you're lying down. You might find yourself perfectly fine during the day walking around sitting up, but the moment you lie down in bed at night, you start to feel a sense of breathlessness. You might find you need to prop your head up with extra pillows, maybe two, three, or even four of them just to breathe comfortably. Or worse, you might have to get out of bed and sit up in a chair just to feel like you can get enough air. A key indicator of this is something doctors call paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. That's a fancy term for waking up suddenly in the middle of the night, maybe an hour or two after falling asleep, feeling smothered or gasping for air. It can be a very frightening experience. This is very different from the shortness of breath you might get with a cold, where your nose is stuffed up, or from asthma, which might be triggered by dust or pollen. So what is happening inside your body to cause this? It comes down to fluid and gravity. When your heart isn't pumping efficiently, blood can back up in the vessels that return from your lungs to your heart. This increased pressure can cause fluid to leak from the blood vessels into the air sacs of your lungs. This is a condition called pulmonary edema. During the day when you're standing or sitting upright, gravity helps keep most of that excess fluid down in the lower parts of your body like your legs and feet. You might even notice some swelling in your ankles. But when you lie down flat, that fluid is no longer held down by gravity. It redistributes and can move into your lungs, essentially filling up the air sacs that are supposed to be taking in oxygen. It's like trying to breathe with a wet sponge in your lungs. Propping yourself up with pillows uses gravity to help pull that fluid back down, making it easier to breathe. If you find yourself building a fortress of pillows at night, or if you wake up feeling like you're suffocating, that is a major red flag. It's a classic sign of congestive heart failure, which is a significant risk factor for a heart attack. Your body is telling you that your heart is struggling to handle its fluid load. Pay close attention to this. It's not normal, and it's a sign that warrants a conversation with your doctor right away. The third silent sign is one that people often get wrong. It's a mild, persistent chest discomfort. Forget the dramatic elephant on the chest pain you see on television. While that can certainly happen, a pre-heart attack warning is often much more subtle. It can be a feeling of heaviness, like a weight is sitting in the center of your chest. It might feel like pressure, a squeezing sensation, or even just a dull, persistent ache. Some people describe it as a band tightening around their chest. It's not necessarily a sharp stabbing pain. It's often a discomfort that's hard to put your finger on. This discomfort might come and go. It might last for just a few minutes and then disappear only to return a few hours later or the next day. A key feature is that it has no clear cause. It's not like the muscle soreness you get after lifting something heavy. It seems to appear out of nowhere, perhaps, when you're just sitting and reading a book or watching TV. This type of discomfort is often due to something called angina. Angina is chest pain or discomfort caused when your heart muscle doesn't get as much oxygen-rich blood as it needs. This usually happens because one or more of the heart's arteries is narrowed or blocked, a condition known as atherosclerosis. When you're at rest, your heart might be getting just enough oxygen to get by. But if you exert yourself or even experience emotional stress, your heart needs more oxygen. The narrowed arteries can't deliver it, and that oxygen deficit causes the feeling of pain or pressure. This is called stable angina. However, if this discomfort starts happening more frequently, lasts longer, or occurs even when you are at rest, it's known as unstable angina. Unstable angina is a medical emergency and a very strong predictor that a heart attack could happen very soon. Picture a man named Frank. He started noticing a vague ache in his chest every morning while he was having his coffee. It wasn't painful enough to make him stop, just a weird pressure that would last a few minutes and then fade. He thought it was heartburn from the coffee, but then he noticed it happened one afternoon when he was walking to the mailbox. He stopped, the feeling went away, and he continued on. He dismissed it. But that recurring vague ache was his coronary arteries narrowed by plaque crying out for more oxygen. It was a textbook warning sign. If you feel any new or changing discomfort in your chest, pressure squeezing fullness, or a dull ache, don't try to be a hero. It's far better to get it checked out and find out it's just indigestion than to ignore a warning that could save your life. And speaking of indigestion, that brings us to our fourth sign, one that is especially common in women and incredibly easy to misinterpret: nausea or indigestion. This is one of the most insidious signs because we all get an upset stomach from time to time. We ate too fast, we tried a new spicy dish, or maybe we have a touch of a stomach bug. It's so easy to mistake heart-related nausea for a simple case of acid reflux or gastritis. You might lose your appetite entirely. Food you used to love might suddenly seem unappealing. You could have frequent heartburn or a burning sensation in your upper abdomen that feels just like indigestion. You might even feel bloated or have a general sense of discomfort centered in the pit of your stomach. So why on earth would a heart problem make you feel sick to your stomach? The connection lies in your anatomy and nervous system. Your heart and your stomach are located very close to each other in your body. Furthermore, they share some of the same nerve pathways. The vagus nerve, for example, is a major nerve that runs from the brain down to the abdomen, influencing both the heart and the digestive system. When the heart is under stress, like during a period of reduced blood flow, it can send out pain signals. Because of these shared nerve pathways, your brain can get its wires crossed and misinterpret those signals as coming from the stomach instead of the heart. This is especially true for heart attacks that affect the bottom part of the heart, which sits right on top of the diaphragm close to the stomach. The inflammation and stress from a struggling heart can directly irritate the surrounding area, leading to feelings of nausea, belching, or abdominal pain. This is a critical point for women. While men are more likely to experience the classic chest pain, women are significantly more likely to present with these atypical symptoms, including profound fatigue, shortness of breath, and very commonly nausea and indigestion-like symptoms. A woman might spend days thinking she has the flu or food poisoning, taking antacids and trying to rest, when in fact her heart is in serious trouble. So how do you tell the difference? One clue is the context. Is the nausea related to food? Does it get worse when you lie down like typical acid reflux? Or does it seem to come on with physical exertion or emotional stress and feel associated with other symptoms, like a little lightheadedness or fatigue? If you have persistent, unexplained nausea or indigestion that doesn't fit your usual pattern, especially if you have other risk factors like high blood pressure or diabetes, you have to consider your heart. I hope you're finding this information valuable so far. It can be a little unsettling to hear, I know, but remember, knowledge is your greatest tool. If these tips are opening your eyes, please take a moment to give this video a thumbs up. It truly helps our message reach other seniors who need to hear it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to do so. We have more crucial signs to cover. All right, let's move on to the fifth sign. This is another type of pain, but it's not in your chest. It's pain that radiates to your shoulder, back, or jaw. Again, our minds are trained to think that heart attack pain is confined to the chest and the left arm. While pain down the left arm is a classic symptom, the warning signals can show up in many other places. You need to pay close attention to a new unexplained pain that develops in your left shoulder or sometimes even in both shoulders. It might feel like a pulled muscle, but you can't remember doing anything to injure it. You might also feel a dull nagging ache in your upper back, often right between the shoulder blades. Another very common and very missed location is the jaw. It can be a dull ache in the lower jaw on one or both sides that can feel like a toothache. Some people have even gone to the dentist thinking they have a dental problem when it was their heart all along. The key here is to be especially cautious if this pain is not related to any physical activity or movement. If you press on the area and it doesn't hurt more, or if moving your arm or neck doesn't change the pain, that's a sign it might not be a muscular issue. The reason for this phenomenon is called referred pain. It's the same reason a problem with the vagus nerve can cause nausea. The nerves from your heart, shoulders, arms, neck, and jaw all send their signals up to the brain through the same general region of the spinal cord. It's like a busy switchboard. When the heart muscle is being damaged from a lack of oxygen, it sends out intense pain signals. When those signals arrive at the spinal cord switchboard, they can get mixed up with signals coming from other parts of the body. The brain, which isn't used to receiving pain signals directly from the heart, gets confused. It misinterprets the signal as coming from a more common location for pain, like the shoulder or the jaw. Think about it this way: you rarely feel pain in your heart. You feel pain in your muscles all the time, so your brain defaults to the more familiar interpretation. A friend of mine's father, a tough old farmer, had a nagging pain in his jaw for about a week. He was convinced he needed a root canal. He chewed on the other side of his mouth, took some ibuprofen, and ignored it. It wasn't until he felt a crushing pressure in his chest that he finally went to the emergency room. The doctors told him the jaw pain was his early warning system, a classic case of referred pain. So if you develop a strange, persistent ache in your shoulder, back, or jaw that you can't explain, take it seriously. Consider the possibility that it's not a muscle, not a bone, not a tooth, but your heart trying to get your attention. Now for our sixth sign, which can be quite alarming, unusual sweating. This isn't about sweating because it's a hot day in August or because you've just finished a brisk walk. This involves breaking out in a cold, clammy sweat for no apparent reason at all. You could be sitting calmly in a cool room, watching television, and suddenly find your forehead, palms, and chest are damp with a cold sweat. It can happen at any time of day, but it is particularly concerning if it happens at night, waking you from your sleep, or while you are at rest. This type of sweating is often accompanied by a sudden feeling of intense anxiety, nervousness, or a sense of impending doom. It can feel like you're having a panic attack, even if there's nothing to be anxious about. The why behind this symptom is fascinating and tied directly to your body's survival instincts. When your heart is struggling to pump blood because of a blockage, your body's nervous system kicks into high gear. Specifically, the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, is activated. Your body perceives a struggling heart as a major life-threatening crisis. In response, it releases stress hormones like adrenaline. This is the same response you'd have if you were suddenly face-to-face with a bear in the woods. Your heart rate increases, your pupils dilate, and your sweat glands go into overdrive to cool your body down in preparation for intense physical exertion, either fighting or fleeing. But in this case, there is no bear. The threat is internal. So you're left with the physical symptoms of a panic response, the racing heart, the feeling of dread, and the cold, clammy sweat, all while you're just sitting on your couch. It's that out-of-context nature of the sweat that is the biggest clue. If you are a woman going through menopause, you know what a hot flash feels like: a wave of intense heat followed by sweating. This is different. This is a cold sweat. It feels clammy and unpleasant. And it's not linked to feeling hot. It's your body's primitive alarm system screaming that something is critically wrong with its central engine, the heart. If you ever experience this, especially if it's combined with any of the other signs we've discussed, like chest discomfort or nausea, it is a very serious signal. This brings us to our seventh and final silent sign, heart rhythm disturbances. This can manifest in a few different ways. You might feel your heart is suddenly racing or pounding in your chest even though you're not exercising or feeling nervous. This is called a palpitation. Or you might feel the opposite, that your heart is beating unusually slowly. But perhaps the most common and unsettling feeling is the sensation that your heart is skipping, beats fluttering or flip-flopping in your chest. It might feel like a fish flopping around in there. This irregular heartbeat is medically known as an arrhythmia. These sensations can be accompanied by feeling lightheaded, dizzy, weak, or like you're about to faint. This is especially concerning if you have never experienced these types of symptoms before. What's causing this? Your heartbeat is controlled by a sophisticated electrical system. Think of it as the heart's own internal pacemaker. It sends out regular electrical impulses that tell the heart's chambers to contract in a coordinated, rhythmic way, efficiently pumping blood. When the heart muscle is under stress or being damaged by a lack of oxygen from a blocked artery, this can interfere with that electrical system. The electrical pathways can become irritable, and unstable, causing them to fire erratically. This can lead to a chaotic and fast rhythm like atrial fibrillation, AFib, or it can cause extra premature beats that feel like a skip. When the heart isn't beating in a regular strong rhythm, it can't pump blood effectively to the rest of the body, including your brain. That's why these episodes are often paired with dizziness or feeling faint. Your brain isn't getting its steady supply of oxygen. Many people have occasional harmless palpitations. A little too much caffeine or stress can certainly cause a skipped beat now and then. But what we're talking about is a new persistent or recurring pattern of these disturbances. If you suddenly start experiencing episodes of a racing or fluttering heart, especially if it makes you feel weak or dizzy, it could be a sign that your heart's electrical system is being compromised by underlying coronary artery disease. It's another way your body is trying to alert you to a developing problem before it becomes a full-blown catastrophe. Now that we've covered these 7 subtle signs, it's absolutely critical we talk about when to stop observing and when to take immediate action. If you experience a combination of severe symptoms, for example, a strong pressure or pain in your chest that doesn't go away, extreme shortness of breath, where you can't speak in full sentences, breaking out in a cold sweat, feeling nauseous, and especially if you feel pain radiating down your left arm, this is no longer a warning sign. This is a full-blown medical emergency. Call 911 immediately. Do not, under any circumstances, try to drive yourself or have a family member drive you to the hospital. Paramedics can begin life-saving treatment the second they arrive. They have oxygen medication and defibrillators. Every second counts when it comes to saving heart muscle. Do not try to take painkillers or wait it out to see if it goes away. Time is muscle. The longer you wait, the more permanent damage is done to your heart. So what can we do to be proactive? We can't live in fear, but we can live with wisdom. My advice for everyone over 60 is simple. First, get regular health checkups with your doctor. Be honest with them about your lifestyle and any symptoms you're having, no matter how small they seem. This is especially important if you have a family history of heart disease or if you have known risk factors like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or diabetes. These conditions put extra strain on your heart, making it even more important to listen to your body. Second, pay close attention to these unusual signs we've discussed today. Keep a health journal if it helps. Don't be dismissive of your health. You know your body better than anyone. If something feels off, if there's a change from your normal, trust that instinct. It's always better to be safe than sorry. And third, embrace a heart-healthy lifestyle. It is never ever too late to make a positive change. Focus on eating a diet that's rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, and low in sodium-saturated fats and processed foods. The DASH diet or the Mediterranean diet are excellent models, and engage in gentle, regular exercise that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be a marathon. A brisk 30-minute walk each day, swimming, or even chair exercises can make a world of difference for your cardiovascular health. Growing older doesn't mean giving up. It means using smarter strategies to protect the precious gift of your health. We've covered a lot of important ground today. It might feel like a lot to take in, but remember the core message: your body talks to you. Your job is to learn its language. Recognizing these 7 silent signs, the unusual fatigue, the shortness of breath when lying down, the mild chest discomfort, the nausea, the radiating pain, the cold sweats, and the heart flutters, gives you power. It allows you to shift from being a passive passenger to an active pilot of your own health journey. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends and family. Forward it to your siblings, your friends from church, anyone in your life over 60. You could be sharing information that saves a life. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 signs surprised you the most? Have you or a loved one ever experienced one of these subtle warnings? Please share your story or ask any questions you have in the comments below. I do my best to read them all because we build a stronger, healthier community when we learn from one another. Thank you so much for investing this time in your health today. Remember, every small step you take, every new piece of knowledge you gain, is a step toward a stronger, healthier, and more independent future. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and I'll see you in the next video.